What's going on, everyone? I hope your day or your is going well. Uh, Yahuah is so amazing, and this video that I'm going to do today, some people may find a little unusual. Trust me, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little scared to do this video at first, but I truly believe that it will be an encouragement for a lot of people. It's definitely been encouraging for myself. Listen, I want to talk about the miracles of Yahuah. The Ruach has led me to do a specific amount of videos describing the miracles of Yahuah. There may be people out there who don't believe miracles exist, but I'm here to tell you that Yahuah still does miracles. He has done them in the past, and he's still doing them now. And for a lot of people, I think, they struggle in that area because they may be in a position where they are needing Yahuah to do something and do something fast. And many people have doubted because they expected a miracle in regards to a certain situation, but it hasn't happened yet, and they kind of just lost hope on it. And so Yahuah he's leading me to do different videos talking about his miracles. And one of the reasons why is so that his people, his followers, those that love him, will continue to have hope and faith in him. I mean, let's be honest, if Yahuah does not do miracles for us, then I know for a lot of us, it would be kind of hard because you're like, Yahuah, I need, that's that anchor, we are hoping in Yahuah to do something supernatural for us that we couldn't do for ourselves, you know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much what a miracle is. Now, we know that Satan has abilities as well. And so we have to, take that into consideration too. But there are miracles that Yahuah does by his finger. And Yahushua talked about it when he said he does things by the finger of Yahuah. So, and Yahuah wants us encouraged. So this first video I'm going to do about miracles is titled Debt-Free Miracle. Yeah, I know. I researched the scriptures, and there's actually some good stuff in scripture on how Yahuah moved with compassion and set individuals free from debt. And I have to admit, and I know a lot of you guys can testify that before you came to Yahuah, you made some terrible financial decisions. And even some of us in Yahuah have made some terrible financial decisions, and we put ourselves in a hole, and we took upon some things, some debts that we had no business, taking upon. For example, in the book of Mishali, which is Proverbs 22:26, it says, "Be not one of them that strike hands, or of them that are sureties for debts." And how many of us, we got in a tight crunch, and the first thing we did was, we go to the bank or we go online and try to figure out how we can get a quick loan or something like that to take care of a situation. We moved in haste. And listen, I'm gonna just talk about me. I have made some terrible financial decisions and took upon some debts that I shouldn't have took on, and paying for it still to this day, and I'm not looking for no handouts, but it gets to a point where it gets so overwhelming trying to pay back your debts to the point, it starts taking from your household. It does, and so we live in a system today in America, those of you who live in America, where everything is built off credit and debt. And that's actually pretty false, right? It's actually pretty false because it's not backed by anything. You're told, hey, improve your credit score to do what? to borrow more, to take on more debt. But in reality, that's putting yourself in a hole. And listen, once you are not able to pay off those debts, what happened? The creditors start calling you. And it can be so frustrating and so stressful because they do not let up. And there are some, when you're not able to pay back them debts, they're looking for payment. They'll attack your finances. They'll try to, garnish your wages, or even, take some of your income tax. They're looking to liquidate or take any assets that you have. And this is why in Proverbs 22:7 says the rich rules over the poor, and the borrower is a servant to the lender, or a bondman. And sometimes when you're in a bunch of debt, it's like being in a financial prison. It is. And so this is why, I heard an individual say this, and it made so much sense. And he said, if you can't pay it in cash, you can't afford it. If you can't go somewhere and negotiate with the income that you have built up to say, I only want to pay this for this, instead of going and saying, okay, I'll agree with you to take upon this amount, and I'll agree to make these certain amount of payments for this amount of years. And anything could happen, right? You can lose your job, you can lose your business, someone can get sick, and just anything can happen, right? So that's why in the book of Sirach, verse 21-8, it says, he that builds his house with other men's money is like one that gathers himself stones for the tomb of his burial. And y'all heard the phrase, you dig your own grave. So when you're constantly going to the bank or going to different areas, trying to take out loans to try to build something for yourself with money that wasn't yours to begin with. And remember, now you're on their terms, not your terms. So the greatest thing about having financial power is being able to negotiate things on your own terms. Because think about it, when you agree to their terms, there's this thing called interest. And so a lot of times you're paying more on the interest than you're paying on the actual principal balance itself, which means more money is coming out of your pocket, but it's going to that system that you're paying into. And millions of people today are doing that, and these systems, these organizations are getting rich. And this is why in one of the scriptures, when they were praying, when the Talmud was asking Yahuah to teach us how to pray, one of the things they said was, forgive us of our debts. And that's one of the things we have to constantly go to Yahuah. Forgive us of our debts. Forgive us for taking out loans where we didn't even have the money to pay back. Even in the book of Sirach, I read it in the scripture, I can't remember the verse. I think it was Sirach 18:33, when it says, why borrow when you have nothing in your purse? You're setting yourself up for failure, right? So like home loans, car loans, and we're all, some of us, I'm not saying all, some of us are guilty of, I'm guilty of it, right? And like I said, I'm paying for it today. But Yahuah is still, in all of our mistakes and all of our bad decisions, he is still able to turn things around and forgive us of our debts and cause our debts to be clear. Well, let's go to scripture. Lucas 18, verse 23-27 says this. Therefore is the kingdom of the Shamayim likened to a certain king, which would take account of his servants. And when he had begun to reckon, one was brought unto him which owed him 10,000 talents. Now, when I looked that up in today's money terms, 10,000 talents will be equivalent to $3.48 billion. That's a lot. That's a lot that this servant owed to the king. But next verse says, but for as much as he had not to pay, his Adon commanded him to be sold, and his women and his children, and all that he had in payment to be made. See, this man was so much in debt that this king, like, I'm going to get payment one way or another. And you see the consequences of it. This man was about to lose everything because of the debts that he owed. But it says, the servant therefore fell down and worshiped him, saying, have patience with me, and I will pay you all. Then the Adon of that servant was moved with compassion and loosed him and forgave him the debt. That's a debt-free miracle, is it not? So who is our king? Yahuah is our king. And let's be honest. Some of us are in a situation where it's hard to pay back, debts that we owe from financial decisions we made, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago that, still damage us today. And the creditors still, they call your phone, they send text messages, emails, and trust me, it's frustrating, it's annoying. But our King, Yahuah, when we come to him and cry out like this man did, and when we fall down and worship Yahuah, Yahuah will be moved with compassion. And right there, he said he loosed him and forgave him the debt. And I believe that when we do that, Yahuah will forgive us of our debts and loose us from our debts. And he will give us the ability to pay back those debts so that we can live debt-free. And that's one of the things that I've been praying to Yahuah. I said, Yahuah, if anything, I just want to be debt-free. I just want to pay off all my debts so I don't have to deal with that. And to me, that's one of the best ways to live is debt-free, because you don't owe anyone anything. Now, yes, you still have your basic essentials you're going to, buy, food, water, home supplies, clothes, things of that nature. But, outside of that, debts that you owe that, you just can't pay. Right here, Yahuah will loose us and forgive us of it. Because he sees the torment that it has caused you throughout all the years. He sees the stress and the anxiety that it has caused you throughout the years. I'm going to read another scripture. Luke 7, verse 41-42. There was a certain creditor which had two debtors. The one owed 500 pence and the other 50. And when they had nothing to pay, he frankly forgave them both. Tell me therefore which of them will love him the most. Here it is. Another debt-free miracle. Another debt-free miracle. See, everything that we need is in Scripture. The key is, too, when Yahuah does do this debt, and I believe he will do it for his people. I believe he will do it. When he does do it, don't be like the servant that after his debt was cleared and he was forgiven, that he goes to his servant and starts beating him because he owed him something. And that servant asked him to have compassion. He won't have compassion. Don't be like that. Don't put yourself in a situation again when Yahuah clears you of the debt, and then you go right back into being, irresponsible, shall I say, or being a not good as far as financial management, not being a good steward, right? Don't go back to it. Just as the Yahushua told, the individual that he healed, he say, sin no more. Sin no more. So when Yahuah clears you of the debt, don't go back into debt. There's a lot of quote unquote financial gurus on YouTube and social media. They say, things like debt is money. They're this much in debt. Listen, I believe that is a trap. I believe that is a trap because if something was to happen to any one of them and they're not able to pay those debts, what's going to happen? They could lose a lot. And those creditors are going to come after everything that they have. That's why a lot of them file for bankruptcy when things happen. And when they file for bankruptcy, some of their assets have to be sold so they can pay off those debts. You see what I'm saying? So we got to be real wise and smart about this. Another debt-free miracle. One of my favorite scriptures. In the book of, I believe it's 2 Kings 4, verse 1-7. And this is about the woman's husband who had died. But the key thing was that he was a man that feared Yahuah. So listen, you have to be a person that fears Yahuah. At any time when you want Yahuah to do something for him, your heart still has to be right. Because there are people, who go to Yahuah thinking he's like a genie, that he's just gonna grant their wish and poof, it's just like that. No. Yahuah is not like that. You know what I'm saying? He is merciful, but he's not like that. So we have to be very careful how we approach Yahuah in anything that we're asking him for, whether to forgive us of our debts or any type of miracle that we want him to do for us. But anyway, so he was a man that feared Yahuah, but the creditor was coming to take her sons, take them to be bondmen, which means slaves. This woman was in deep distress. So she went to Eliasha, which is in English, Elisha. And Elisha said to her, "What shall I do for you? Tell me, what do you have in your house?" Now, who would like for Yahuah to whisper that to them when you come to him about a need? And he says, "What shall I do for you?" That is the compassion right there of Yahuah. That is the favor of Yahuah. That is the mercy of Yahuah right there. Tell me what I should do for you. What do you have in your house? And she said, she was a pot of oil. So the man of Yahuah told her to borrow vessels abroad, even empty vessels, and borrow not a few. Then he told her to shut the door, pour out all the vessels, set aside which is full. And she had did all that as she was told to do. And once that happened, the man of Yahuah told her, says, "Sell the oil, pay your debt, and live, and your children of the rest." So Yahuah did a miracle in that, creating a situation where she can sell what she had to pay off her debt so that she can live, her and her children, of the rest. When this means they can live and rest. They can live without someone coming to take from them because of a debt they owe. They can live in peace and rest without not having to worry about who they owe. That's why I say living debt-free is, it's awesome to live, because you could just sit back and be like, man, I don't owe anybody. But then the beauty of also being debt-free is you have the financial liberty also to be able to help others, to be able to give into others. Listen, because when you are working and you bringing in, but what's going out is more that you're bringing in because you owe so much, and it's anything that's taken away out of your pockets, taken out of your home, you have to ask yourself, right? You have to ask yourself. You have to come to Yahuah like, nah, this is not supposed to be. And remember, one of the curses in Deuteronomy 28 was, you shall lend and not borrow. I mean, that was one of the blessings, you shall lend and not borrow. But the curses was one of, you'll become a borrower, not a lender. And another curse was saying, you shall gather much seed, but bring in little. Who wants to live like that? Who wants to continue to owe people? That is, like I said, that's like financial prison. It is stressful. But here we see the compassion of Yahuah, that he will be moved about our situation. And he will loose us of our debts. He will forgive us of our debts. And he will create a situation for us, just like he did with this woman, where we can sell something and it gives us exactly what we need to pay off what we owe. Sounds like debt-free miracle to me. But that's just one of the miracles of Yahuah. That's more. But enough said on this video for today. I hope that whoever watching this video, it will really baruch you. It will strengthen you. And that you begin to hope in Yahuah. And listen, I'm not going to be like these false, prosperity preachers where they be like, no, I see money all around you and they getting people to go all crazy. No, 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 no. But I do believe that Yahuah will create a debt-free miracle for his people. I don't know when he'll do it. I don't know how. But right here, it shows. And we have to go to Yahuah about everything. We don't know how long he'll let that debt situation linger, but we just have to trust in him. And that's, all I can say on that. But I just believe in the power of Yahuah. And I believe that he can do things exceedingly amazing beyond our comprehension. And I believe that he can perform debt-free miracles for us. I really do. It's in the scripture, so I believe it. And I don't need to add to it or take away from it. Yahuah is amazing. And there is nothing too hard for him. Nothing. Nothing. You just have to be bold and go and ask him with a pure heart, right? Clean hands and a pure heart. Enough said. I pray that you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. I love you guys.